I think, 0.2. Like a Johnny Gomes utility guy. 2.5 million. Here we go. I don't know if we're on or not. Let me. You can get you're standing by. Let me know our onness, if you will.
Looks like we're live.
We are live. Yes, Lummy, we are live.
We are live.
It's me. It's Lummy. It's Rhett. And Brian Matroni, as we're going to get into some sports stuff. Welcome to the Bubba the Love Sponge show after show. Lummy, I just did it right here. Hold on. We're only 114,000. Now, we usually do on a bad month. I probably shouldn't tell people my business, but fuck it. I don't care.
Fuck it.
Like podcasting wise, on a bad month, we'll do like 170,000. And on a good month, we'll do like 200,000 downloads, right? Well, we're only 104. Like, we haven't done as low as 114,000 since like we almost started the motherfucker. So nice. You know we're going to hit 6 million. And you know I'm going to have to tell that story of the famous person that I fucked. And listen, Brian, you know her. Would you not agree that she, at the time that I fucked her, she was pretty pop culturally famous?
Oh, huge. And actually, it's kind of funny, and I don't want to say too much, but there was something I saw online recently that kind of ties in with it.
Really?
Yeah. Like recently. And it within the last week.
Wow. That kind of maybe ties into what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to see if I can find it, and I'll
come up that she was in Chicago during that time period, or
No. This has more to do with her being attractive and things like that.
Oh, okay. All right. So on our 6 millionth download on our podcast world, which, by the way, anywhere you get podcasting, which let me, I think with our new shit that we're getting ready to do, our podcasting world, we're getting some new, people, like more people to distribute that too.
Yes.
I think so. But when we have Brian in, let me check the calendar, Brian, because I want to make sure I got your rest of the year calendar, because I may have somebody else come in lieu of you being here on the days you can't make it. So
okay.
Here's what I got. I got you locked in for the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th.
No, the 16th, I'm out. I emailed you.
Okay.
That was the one you thought I was going to be out that Thursday, but it was the Great American Teach-In.
That ain't nothing but a scratch off.
Yep.
So I got you locked for November. I got you the 2nd, the 9th, and the 30th.
Yep.
Okay. Of course, we're off on the 23rd is Thanksgiving. And then I got you December 7th. Yes. December 14th. No.
Correct.
And then we don't know. We're completely off on the 28th, and the 21st is just we're going to probably end up doing what we doing? Is it 11 to 1 or 10 to 1? What are we doing?
We haven't really officially
just let me know on the 21st.
But yeah, we were talking about maybe 11 to 1.
Like on the 21st, Brian, we're going to do middays at 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. We're going to probably end up doing like 11 to 1 or 11 to 2.
I can keep myself open on that.
Perfect. So I'm going to put Brian.
Just let me know what it is.
Yeah, we'll give it to you. I would say
and then I can't do the 4th. I'm flying back from Tahoe.
Okay, hold on. 4th, no B.
Snowboard, and
what
I'm
a
going to
beautiful
sip
area.
hot cocoa in the
What a beautiful, what an
absolutely
fucking beautiful. My dad took me there this summer when I went and visited Reno, and oh my God. Now, hold on, Brian. You want to talk about money. Woo! You get into some of the real big pads down below.
Yeah. No, they've got... That's gold money.
That's next level.
That's gold rush
money. That's generational wealth money.
Yep.
So, Brian is here. Brian probably knows more about sports. Lummy, would you say Brian knows more about sports than you do? I would say yes.
I'd say it's close.
I would say, I know a lot about the history of things.
Rat, are you participating today on the sports deal? Or are you
I am. I'm running around trying to fix some stuff right now.
But here's the thing, bud. Just tell me when you're back. Go do your shit, and then just say Rat reporting back.
Okay.
Your mic will be on.
Thank you.
Be ready for you. So first, we're going to talk about the Packers, Brian.
Yeah.
And And I'm not seeing a lot of it. I'm seeing a lot of Matt LaFleur. They're calling him Matt LaFailure. Matt LaFailure on the hot seat. Joe Barry on Joe B. Hall, whoever the fucking defensive coordinator is, on the hot seat. When realistically, the fucking general manager is the one that caused all of this issue. Which he's the motherfucker that went out. Would you not say, Brian, that all of this, every fucking ounce of what the Packers are going through is the direct correlation of Brian Google-fucked going out and drafting Jordan Love, moving up to draft a guy that most people had as a late second rounder, early third rounder from little-known Utah State, didn't have that impressive of a combine, and didn't have that good of a senior year, only played really 1 year when we're fucking talking about Utah fucking State here. And when he played the USCs and the UCLAs and the Washingtons and that, he got his ass kicked. If you look at how well he did in college versus good teams versus bad teams,
right?
There's a stat that I've seen with regards to that. But all of this, just 2 years ago, you had Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Zadarius Smith. You had some fucking dogs on that team. That's why you went to the NFC Championship game 2 years in a row. And my question to you, Brian, was Aaron Rodgers that good to keep a shitty team together? And when he's gone, the real fucking talent, you get the level of what you drafted, what you fucking... The quarterback that you think your future is, when Aaron Rodgers is gone, it shows you the true fucking value of that team.
Well, you saw that Gutekunst came out yesterday and talked about he wasn't sold yet on Jordan Love's future with the Packers, so he's almost admitting that they need more time to evaluate him. They're not sure if he's going to be back next year.
Yeah, so Brian, he came out and said that yesterday. Didn't you? Now listen, let me just give you a little history lesson of the Green Bay Packers, Brian, real fast. One, Ron Wolf comes in from the Jets, and his first fucking thing that he does, this is in 1992, January, February of 92. He leaves the Jets, and Ron Wolf comes to be the new general manager of the Green Bay Packers, and the first fucking thing he does is he calls the Atlanta Falcons and says, "Will you guys take a second rounder for Brett Favre?" And they're like, "Fuck yeah, see you later, Brett Favre." So that's his, when you're talking about Ron Wolf's thumbprint, Ron Wolf was also the guy that went out and got fucking Reggie White, too. So, I think that speaks volumes in itself with regards to your how well of a general manager. Then Ted Thompson takes over for Ron Wolf, and Ted Thompson's fucking big revelation is, hey, Favre's getting a little kooky. He's getting a little fucking, I'm going to play, I'm not going to play. I'm going to go get my quarterback. That guy ends up being motherfucking Aaron Rodgers. I think Ted Thompson might have fucking nailed it as well. Let's not forget Ron Wolf also went out and got Darren Woodson. No, is that who? Yeah, the guy that played for the DB for
Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson.
I'm back.
He went out and got Charles Woodson. So I mean, if a general manager's thumbprint is your quarterback that you go out and get, like the guy from Kansas City, motherfucker should be having parades for him every day. He went out and got Mahomes, right?
Yep.
Guy from Buffalo. Guy from fucking San Diego. I mean, let's be honest. Detroit fucking general manager fleeced the fucking Rams.
No, they didn't. The Rams. That trade is one of the rare ones that has worked out for both teams.
Well, I'm just saying
that's one of the rare ones because you win a Super Bowl. I'm sorry, I don't care what you did, what you had to do. Just like Brady with the Bucs, absolute success. Should they have won 2? Yes.
Hold on,
winning 1. That's all that matters.
But the guy from Detroit has made some great fucking moves, and they're now a very competitive team. I mean, they're winning. Although the NFC North is a shitty fucking, And now did you see Kirk Cousins is out? He has the same injury that Rodgers has.
Achilles blowed.
Yeah, blowed.
And Ron Wolf brought in Reggie White, which changed.
Yeah, Ron Wolf brought in Reggie White. Brian Gutekunst. Do you know what his big fucking revelation trade was? This just 2 days ago. He traded a fucking cornerback who happens to be Raul Douglas, happens to be one of our more consistent ass buckets back there. Not to be confused with Jair Alexander, who we made the highest paid corner in the league and hasn't had fucking. I mean, literally, I was watching the game last weekend, and he literally gives the guy the inside track. He lines up on the guy's outside shoulder, and he was giving that rookie, that number 3 guy from the Vikings, who's fucking all world. He was giving him like a 5 to 7 yard buffer before he even bodied up on him. I mean, Dion's a really good friend of mine, and in talking to Dion, one of the reasons why Dion was so good, and this is his explanation, and you can probably see him say this several times on different sources, but is he bodied you up. He made contact with you at the earliest point he could to disrupt you and try to get you off your first step. And then he happened to be quick enough to be able to make up the difference once that guy got a foot on him. You know what I'm saying? So Dion jammed you at the line. Dion was nose up on you at the line. I think that if you're a respectable cornerback, that's how you play. You can't play 7 yards off the ball.
Well, I sent you his press conference yesterday. No, you can't.
I mean, if
anymore.
your D coordinator is telling you to, then
and it's all matchups.
I mean, I guess it's all built on skill set, right?
Who are you guarding? Who's Rasul Douglas assigned to? You know.
So hold on, this fucking ass bucket Google Hunts. What should he have done for the trade? He should have gone. They got a ton of trade. I mean, they got one first rounder. They got 2 seconds. They got, I think, 2/3. Like, I mean, the Packers are chock full of trade. I would have there has to be some backup offensive lineman that's, pretty fucking good that somebody would take a second or third rounder for.
Well, the reason why he did it, he came out and said yesterday in his press conference, he said it's in their best interest long term because if you get a third round pick, it's going to be kind of a player within the top 100, probably going to be in the top 50 players that you have on your board.
Right, so we're so young and so desperate that every person, I think, except one, all 8 or 7 draft picks, including the 7th rounder, made the team this year. And all but 3 made the team last year. Like, they're desperate for fucking talent. And Brian, let's not forget,
that all
2 years ago, they had Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers.
But that all goes back to the deal that they gave Rodgers. I mean, it put them in cap hell. The problem for the Packers is this. They should have moved on from Aaron Rodgers when they drafted, or year after drafting Jordan Love. That's when they should have moved on from Aaron Rodgers. And the fact that they didn't, so they had a malcontent there. They had a guy who didn't want to be with the organization.
But it was repairable.
Who took every penny he could get.
Repairable.
Who didn't work his contract out to help the team. Who didn't do anything to help Green Bay. He was fine tanking that team. But what you're seeing is the difference between a veteran quarterback and essentially a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
You can call Jordan Love experience. He doesn't have experience in shit.
He's got 8 games.
Yeah. So, Aaron Rodgers hid a lot of the deficiencies.
Right.
But Green Bay's offensive line is terrible. They're not running the ball. They're not running the ball with any success. And Aaron Jones has been dinged up.
And they're talking about, man, we need a running back. Motherfucker, no, you don't. Get Aaron Jones healthy. Get rid of A.J. Dillon because I think he gained 22 pounds over the offseason, like Eddie Lacy, and go out and and then the deal. I mean, all this stuff that we talk about, Brian, is all on Brian Gutekunst. He went out and gave Bakhtiari the largest tackle contract in the history of the league at the time. He went out and gave Jair Alexander the largest cornerback contract at the time.
Alexander's not costing him a ton.
Okay, look at it.
Yeah, he's on. Let's see here.
Jair Alexander, I think, is one of the top paid corners.
His yearly cash 14, 15, 17. This year he's earning $14.25 million.
What I'm saying is this all. Do you agree with me that or do you not, that all of this drama started when Brian Gutekunst did not pick up the phone and get Aaron Rodgers' approval on drafting Love, and Love is not as talented as they thought he was?
Yeah, I think it's showing. It is interesting, though, because if we replay the audio from the second week or the first week of the season, you were just over the moon with Aaron Love.
Jordan Love.
I'm sorry, I said Aaron Love. Jordan Love. You were over the moon with him. you're like, oh my goodness, we didn't know he wasn't a practice bum that we thought he was. I mean, you were sold. You were sold on him after 2 weeks. Now, granted, they were playing the Bears in week 1,
right?
Which
I mean, and they barely won that game.
No, they blew the Bears out.
No, they didn't. I don't think they blew the Bears out this year. I think they barely
the first
won
week of the season.
Yeah,
I think they blew them out.
well, whatever.
Oh, we'll check that.
Do you think that Gutekunst is on the fucking hot seat right now?
Yeah, I think he's got to be. I think you're looking at a rebuild here. Yeah, they beat the Bears 38-20. It wasn't particularly
all right.
close.
And then they won week 2.
No, they lost week 2 in a close one to the Falcons on the road.
Oh yeah,
25-24.
and that was a choke. That
and then
was
they
a fucking,
beat the Saints by a point.
And that was a prayer. And then everything else has just been a complete fuck fest since.
Yeah, they lost to the Raiders. They were losing close. I mean, the Raiders and Broncos were close games.
But look at both of those teams.
Yeah.
Fucking
I get it.
The Raiders just fired everybody.
I mean, when the Raiders played the Packers and the Packers played the Broncos, it should have been deemed which team is more fucking pathetic.
Oh, real quick, did you hear the story that emerged on how Mark Davis fired?
Oh, that's fake though.
It is fake?
Yeah.
Oh man, that would have been awesome if
He
it
was
real.
fired after the game.
Yeah, right after the game. Okay.
Yeah.
That
It's
would've
crazy
been...
that was it really in the Athletic article? Because it's behind a paywall, so I didn't know for sure. But I first saw that it came from the Athletic.
Yeah, I saw that too, which is why I thought there might be some credibility to it.
Yeah, I wanted to believe it.
I wanted to. I so wanted to believe that story.
But the bad thing about the Packers is the way that they're wired and the way that they're structured is they have a president of football operations, and his name is Mark Murphy. He's not the old player for the Packers. He used to play. I think at one time he was a player for the Redskins or Washington, but he's a football guru, and he and the Packers have a president that runs the team, and then a general manager who is in charge of all personnel, and then a head coach. Well, Mark Murphy, the president of the Packers have it set up where they have a board of directors, and the president reports to the board of directors. Well, at the age of 70, they have a rule that the age of 70, the Green Bay Packer president has to resign at the age of 70.
The United States of America should have that same rule.
You know what? The Packers might be onto something there.
They're onto something there.
Really?
Yeah.
At the age of 70, you have to retire?
Yes, it's called like something emeritus. What's it called, Brian, when you're on a
emeritus? Or,
yes.
Yeah.
And then you go on the board as an emeritus, you go then you transfer from being the president of the team to now being on the board emeritus, like emeritus or something like that. And then the board finds within the board of directors, they elect a new president. So this president, the current president now, Mark Murphy, he has to resign in July of 2025. And so now all the because I keep up with the Packers pretty extensively in the forums and stuff. They're all like, okay, now is Mark Murphy just going to hold on for another year and a half and then they just clean house with everybody? Or does he, as he's going out, as he's kind of a lame duck president at this point, he gets rid of Gutekunst because, I mean, God, at the end of the fucking day, this is the guy that's caused all the problems, Brian.
Well, here's the thing.
Right? You're only as good as the personnel that your general manager gives you.
If you're going to rebuild, if you look at that roster and you say, this is not fixable, we have too many weaknesses. We are in a true rebuild. We don't have a quarterback. Jordan Love ain't it. If that's truly where you're at, then you have to bring in a new GM and a new head coach so that they can start utilizing these high draft picks. They have a first, 2 seconds, and 2/3 in this year's draft to bring in the guys that they want that will fit their system.
But hold on, and also this Gutekunst, he does no trading. He does nothing to better his team. He let Zadarius Smith go 2 years ago. He let Devontae Adams go. That has to be the biggest fuck up.
Well,
because
their hands were tied.
But no, Devontae Adams said he let Jordy Nelson go. There's been players that have come out and said, Brian, we wanted to stay a Packer and we would have given them a team-friendly deal. But in Jordy Nelson's situation, Brian Gutekunst didn't even have a conversation with him. Like, he didn't even call Jordy Nelson's agent and offer him a deal. They just didn't want Jordy. That's where the wheels of trust began to fall off with Rodgers, because Rodgers loved Jordy Nelson, and I think Jordy went on to sign with the.
He played one season with
the Raiders for like $8 million.
He played one season with Oakland after that, and it was an okay season for him actually.
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
But
hold on, he would have played for 4 for the Packers.
His 2017 season with the Packers though was pretty bad. I mean, he only had 482 yards receiving over 15
I think he was
games.
hurt.
No, he played 15 games.
All right, whatever.
I'm just saying it was an indicator. A 32-year-old
when your Hall of
receiver,
Fame quarterback wants a guy that will take a team-friendly deal for familiarity, you fucking do the deal. You have an open line of communications. There's only about.
But how much do we believe that he would have come back to them for $3 million?
He said.
I know he says it.
Well, I mean,
I know he says it.
I have no reason to think that he would lie.
I want to be good. I want to be good with the Green Bay people too. So when I go to do my sports card signings and everything, that they all don't hate me for leaving the team.
All right, listen to me. When you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers and that Jordy Nelson deal that happened, what year?
2018.
All right, so that was 2-3 MVPs ago. Aaron Rodgers is fucking, all world at this point. You keep that guy happy because arguably there's only in our lifetime, there's only been 5-6 guys that are in the same league, or I should say Aaron Rodgers is in the same league as them.
Oh, no. There's
Really?
more than that.
Really?
Yeah.
I put Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre,
Drew Brees.
Okay.
Oh, no, about
Okay.
it. He has
All
as
right.
many Super Bowl championships as Rodgers.
All right. Drew Brees. There you go.
Definitely.
Then-
Joe Montana.
No. I
Steve,
said
you
no,
said
no,
our
no,
lifetime.
No. Okay, I'm talking about.
Oh, you said. I'm sorry. You said our
Recently.
lifetime.
I'm talking about.
Our recent lifetime.
Of course, there's Joe Montana.
Dan Marino.
Of course,
John
there's Dan
Elway.
Marino.
John
Of course, there's
Elway.
Roger
I'm sorry,
Staubach.
you said in our
there's
lifetime.
Terry Bradshaw.
Well, that's in your lifetime, old man.
I'm just saying.
In our lifetime, in here.
Let me one of these days. I am going to get up and just slap the fucking.
Hey, Bubba,
piss
for
out of him.
100,000th subscriber, you can beat the shit out of Brian for our show.
So,
I'll do it for the 500,000.
What do do you not agree that this guy's in this motherfucker right here? Hold on here, let me so that you can see him.
Brian Cook will
This motherfucker right here, pretty much single-handedly, dismantled the Green Bay Packers. From the Jordy Nelson to the fucking Devontae Adams to the I mean, let's just fundamentally talk about one thing and one thing only. The drafting of Jordan Love. I think we can now say, Brian, that he's not what Brian Gutekunst thought he was going to be, because you don't get rid of Aaron Rodgers, you don't get rid of his favorite receiver if this guy is your quarterback. If this guy is your next Patrick Mahomes, you don't do that.
Well, the problem is, if you were going to do that, you do that when the team was better. I mean, if you think he's your future, now you bring him into this depleted squad. They don't have Bakhtiari. Their offensive line is a joke. They have nothing but young receivers around him. They don't have an established wideout. They have their number one running back who's been literally hamstrung all season. Jordan Love doesn't look the part. I will say that.
Right.
But at the same time, he's been up against it. I mean, it's not like he's been put into an ideal situation where he's expected to thrive. Are they much better on paper than Carolina? Are they much better on paper than Houston? And those are rookie quarterbacks down there. And yeah, Jordan Love's not a true rookie, but playing experience-wise, he's a rookie. He's an NFL rookie when it comes to game experience. So, he's not terrible, but he's, so Walter Football is an online site. You're familiar with it, right?
Yeah.
Lummy?
Yep.
This guy does really good draft analysis and has his own site, really, really old school looking site, not a lot of money into it. But he had the perfect comparison for Jordan Love. And I'm going to go through his strengths and his weaknesses that he had, and you tell me.
Walter Football?
Yeah.
All right.
So these are the weaknesses he had for Jordan Love. Poor field vision. Has to improve working through his progressions. Must get more consistent at reading defenses. Often stares down his primary read. Needs to learn to move coverage with his eyes. Could improve on his decision-making. Has some turnover issues. Has some accuracy issues. Will need to improve his footwork. And then he compared him to Blake Bortles. And I think that what
How's Blake Bortles doing nowadays?
Not good, and he didn't have a lengthy NFL career. He had like one good season with Jacksonville, I think. But I think it's spot on. I mean, this isn't a franchise quarterback. If you're comparing somebody to Blake Bortles, you're saying they're not going to be able to lead you to anything.
Right.
So you got to move on from him. You got to, and I will say this: Jordan Love statistically right now with the numbers that he's putting up, probably slightly better than Blake Bortles, but not tremendously so.
You think
So hold on, the general manager that pissed off the Hall of Fame quarterback, which then triggered a series of stuff, shouldn't be held accountable for that draft pick?
No, they should move on from him.
I mean, that guy fucked it up.
If they
had a general manager like Jason Light picked up the phone and got Tom Brady's opinion on Trask. Now, they weren't right, but before they drafted Trask, they called Tom Brady up and said, Tom, here's a couple guys we're looking at, 3, 4, 5. Can you tell us, I'll give you a couple weeks. Can you tell us who you might be able to work with, who you like? And he did. He gave them. That's all Aaron Rodgers wanted. He wanted to be communicated with, and with a guy with that skill set. I mean, I think we'll all agree that he's a good quarterback. He may choke in the playoffs, but he's pretty fucking good. Mm-hmm. That guy's earned that respect that you pick up the phone and say, hey, first of all, I think they were a year or two early and even trying to find his fucking replacement. Yeah. Right. I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he had a lot of meat left on his bone when they're fucking drafting some shit bucket from and listen, he's coming from Utah State. It's not like he's coming from Alabama or Georgia or Clemson or UCLA or fucking, Texas or some, just absolutely institution of football. He's coming from fucking Utah State. What the fuck have they done?
Well, back then, too, in 2020, a lot of those small colleges were producing some of the starters in the NFL at the time.
How about Utah State? How many they've ever produced?
I don't think any.
Thanks.
Do you think this has anything to do with the Green Bay Packers hosting the NFL draft in 2025? They want to make a big splash?
No.
Get rid of everybody?
No, because they're gonna be in line potentially to draft Caleb Williams this year. They may not win.
I'm talking about the GM, the coach, everything.
Is Caleb? Yeah, but with Caleb Williams comes he wants ownership in the fucking team. First of all, that is absolutely no team will never go for that. Never. And the only way a team would ever go for, I'm going to give you some ownership in the team, is only on the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, those type of guys on the last part of their career. You give them 5, 6, 8, 10 points like they did Gruden. So, and you fold them into ownership. I could see you could maybe do that with a handful of guys that have ever played this game. Not a motherfucker that's just never taken an NFL snap. Right, Brian? There's no fucking way.
You don't get to come in here and call the shots.
Peyton Manning, I could see where the Denvers may have scratched him up a few. I could see where I think the Bucks fucked up by not offering Brady ownership.
Well, their owners are very stingy with their ownership.
I know they are, but I'm just saying, hey, you know what, Tom? 10% of the team, and we'll start grooming you. I mean, fuck, John Lynch is one of the best general managers in the National Football League.
Well,
is he not?
Here's the thing.
Is he not?
Yes.
Here's why it's short-sighted. You give Brady 5% of the franchise, right? He's around the franchise. He is an attention magnet. He's a media magnet.
Hold on. He's a ticket-selling
He's
motherfucker.
a ticket seller. If he's there at the stadium, people will want to be there.
Yep. If he's doing press conferences every couple weeks, he's he's an ambassador. And with maybe the mindset, Brian, that Jason Light's going to maybe try to roll him into a GM role like they did with Lynch.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Tom Brady is as football smart as John fucking Lynch is all day. Right?
Not if you pick Kyle Trask, but maybe you pick Kyle Trask because he didn't want real competition behind
I'm just
him.
saying. There is a handful, 2, 3 guys that have ever been able to, establish that type of demand. And some stupid fucking rookie from USC is not that. Watch Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football on Netflix, and literally, is it not, Brian, 50-50 on whether that first-round future franchise quarterback even fucking you have the Jamar Russells, you have the fucking Todd Marinoviches, you have the fucking Tim Couch, Ryan Leafs, you got
Johnny Manziel.
You got Johnny Manziel, you got Carr. I mean, it's 50-50 at best that the motherfucker is even going to be good enough to be a 10, 15-year starter, let alone fucking the quality of a Joe Montana or a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers or a Brett Favre or, a fucking, Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman. Those are so far fucking in between. That guy from Brian, that guy from USC, like, he better change his fucking attitude a little bit.
And
he said he's demanding ownership. Fuck off.
I'm concerned.
I don't think he's that good.
I'm concerned if I'm an NFL team because of this. Okay, you look at who they played this season. The only two teams with decent defenses that they played were Notre Dame and Utah.
Loss and loss.
Loss and loss. Not just loss and loss, but 199 yards on 37 passes against Notre Dame and 256 yards on 34 passes against Utah.
With Notre Dame,
one touchdown, 3 interception combined. I mean, he did not do well in those games. He didn't even run well in those games. He did run for 1 touchdown, 10 carries for 27 yards against Utah, and 13 for -8 against Notre Dame. Against that, my fear is against inferior competition. He's looked unstoppable.
I'll tell you, man, I like the kid from Oklahoma.
Squeaked by a cow.
Dylan Gabriel.
I like him, and I like the kid from fucking Washington.
The North Carolina
by the way,
kid is the atypical, prototypical NFL quarterback.
The guy from Washington, Penix. He's
Michael
from
Penix Jr. He's from Tampa.
Land O'Lakes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he went to Tempe Tech.
Tampa Bay Tech. Yeah.
I like the kid from Oregon, the Bo Nix kid. I thought he's fucking. He looks like a standard drop back, composed, Tom Brady kind of guy. Does he not?
Yeah, and so does the UNC quarterback, Drake May.
Yeah, Drake May is probably going. If Caleb Williams keeps it up, Drake May is going to be the number 1 pick. If he keeps up with what he's doing, as far as being an ass bucket.
The kid from Georgia is good as fuck.
Spencer
Beck.
Strider?
No, Carson Beck.
Oh, Carson Beck.
I think that's his name. But I mean, there's not a guy in the potential quarterback draft that would warrant ownership. And when this motherfucker, this Caleb Williams dude, says hasn't he thrown that out there that he wants ownership?
And he's also said a week before, maybe 2 weeks before, that he won't go. He has 7 teams that he'll play for, and if he doesn't get drafted by them, he'll go back and play because he can make more money playing for college than for a shitty team.
Bo Nix is putting up some numbers, man. 21 touchdowns, only 1 pick on the season, 78.3% completion percent.
Yeah, he's a good.
I mean, if you want more of a sure thing. His ceiling may not be as high as some of these other guys, but you're completing 80% of your passes with 21 touchdowns.
I'm going to tell you, that kid from fucking Alabama, remember they were having a little bit of a controversy, and that black kid, Jalen?
Yeah, he's Milrow.
I think he threw for over 300 against A&M.
A&M's not good.
They're not.
He's been a little inconsistent this year, Milrow in particular.
Is Jimbo finally gone?
No, Jimbo. They're waiting for Jimbo to get under $70 million buyout.
Yeah, they have so much money there, but I've been on the fire Jimbo train for a long time.
Yeah, but they didn't want to give $120 million to fire him 2 years ago. I think after next year,
it's very easy to get him fired. You find a hot cheerleader at your school that's willing to take one for the boosters.
You do a honeypot, Willie.
You honeypot him up, and then you say, "Oh, he broke his morality clause. We gotta get rid of him." And then you settle out of court for half of whatever he's owed. It's the American way.
I gotta tell you, man, the kid from Florida State.
Yeah, he's good.
Jordan Travis,
the 13. Is he number 13? Yeah, I think
he's undersized.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a little lanky.
Put a little muscle on him.
Yeah,
he's 6'1", 212.
I'm not sold on the kid. I'm not sold on the kid from Notre Dame, the Hartman kid. I'm not sold on him since they got their ass kicked by Kentucky.
He was good at Wake Forest, but yeah, he's a little small too.
So let's shift gear. I mean, Brian, does my buddy Gutekunst, do they finally get rid of this guy? I mean, who goes first, LaFleur or Gutekunst? Who goes first? Or do they both go
I
at the
think
same?
they both go at the same time.
And
For real.
It won't be after this year. It'll be next year.
It may be. It may be this year. We'll see. I would do it this year because you have 5 first and second day picks, and you've got to get the system.
You got to get the new guy's mentality. This is the draft that the new guy, and if he's good at drafting, could make a difference.
Well, you
got some pretty damn good draft credibility. You got
not
some
just
good
that.
draft.
You got the Jets second round pick, which is going to be what 36th at 37th maybe.
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers looks like he might be coming back the next week.
Aaron Rodgers is standing on the field.
Hold
He's
on.
not
Are they
coming
saying
back.
that he might be?
Oh yeah, he's been warming up and
He's
doing all this
throwing balls. He's not running around the field and cutting.
Right.
His Achilles would
Hold on.
explode again.
He's not fucking running from the Bosa kid, right?
No.
When the Bosa motherfucker from San Fran comes 150 miles an hour because he smoked your left tackle, and you got that motherfucker with a bead on you. Tell me how your Achilles is going to work out when you
they
try
keep
to.
saying that he's going to come back. He keeps reporting it.
I would love for him to come back. Now, Brian, the deal is he has to take 65% of the steps.
He can't hit it now. It's
no,
over.
hold on. Even if they made it into the playoffs?
I think it's regular season.
Oh, well, you might want to look
but I'm
into
not
that.
certain on that. But even then, it's really close to him not being able to hit that number. They're over a third of the way through the season. So, I mean, it's week 9, right?
Okay,
yeah.
so the Packers don't get a number 1 out of the deal. I'd love for Aaron Rodgers, the better he would do, the more that would bury Gutekunst, would it not? If Rodgers came in, took the Jets to the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, squeaked the Jets into the playoffs, and then went deep into the playoffs, and Lummy, fucking party like Aaron Rodgers knows how to party.
Yep.
Losing the first round of the playoffs? I mean, he ain't a deep run guy, guys. Come on.
I mean, they are 4-3 though without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they're doing. I mean, Zach Wilson's clearly the truth.
That was
So, Lummy, Brian, does Gutekunst stay? Does he make it? Does he make it through?
He shouldn't. He should be gone. I mean, this is clear that he has not assembled
a good team.
A good team.
He cannot draft a good fucking team.
And he's given out contracts that are bad contracts in hindsight.
Lummy, is this him?
This is his long press conference. Yeah, talking about the trade, talking about his feelings on Jordan Love.
Probably going to be in the top 50 of your questions.
Brian, what led to this decision to trade Rasul?
So what led to trade? First of all, I mean,
he wanted to get that higher draft pick.
It's that's a tough one because.
By the way, it's a tough one because we're giving up the most yards on defense in the entire league. He happened to have a pick, I think, and was actually one of the bright spots of our fucking cornerback.
He was grading out pretty high. He graded out 15 points higher than Jair Alexander has this year.
That's what I'm saying. And you draft that guy?
Trade him.
You draft. I mean, I'm sorry. You trade that guy?
Trade high.
You give him. When you go to the Jets,
The Bills.
You give the Bills him and a 5th rounder, and you get a 3rd rounder in return. And this is a starter who's graded higher than any other cornerback you have on your team.
And is facing way more passes because they don't throw Alexander's way.
Right.
Of what he means to our team. But at the same time, we weren't looking to move anybody. Got a call kind of out of the blue a few days ago. And it ended up being, we kind of weren't really.
By the way, this motherfucker never picks up the phone and calls anybody. He thinks his team. Motherfucker, if I was Bubba Gutekunst, I'd be on the phone saying, I'd be going through every roster, finding out who has a good backup left tackle. There's got to be somebody who's got a pretty fucking good left tackle. Your current left tackle's just nailing it, and I got a 2nd and a 3rd. Brian, you know that most teams would take a 2nd and a 3rd
but
for a backup.
Yeah.
Not in this NFL anymore.
There's not many good left tackles.
Number one, there's not a lot of good left tackles. Number two, if you have a decent one, you're one snap away from needing to play that guy.
Yeah.
So unless you're a playoff contender, the playoff contenders are only going to be the ones that have 2 good left
and
tackles.
by the way, if you're a good left tackle, you're playing a different position.
Yeah, they got you
right
somewhere
tackle,
else
you're
on the
playing
line.
Guard. You're not. If you're a good left tackle, you're the best lineman on the team.
You can play anywhere on that line.
So if you're 2nd string left tackle because you're first string stud, then you're probably 1st team right guard,
or right tackle,
right? Something like that.
Yeah. Or left guard next to him.
Well, let's see what this dumb fuck says.
But at the end of the day,
I'm more worried about the way his hair looks.
the offer was kind of too good to pass up.
Too good to pass up. A good player and a 5th rounder for a 1/3 rounder. That's a good deal?
I mean, it depends.
Is that a good deal, Brian?
Hold on. If you're looking at, if you have a guy in mind with that extra third-round pick that you are like, we need him as part of our future plan, then it's not necessarily a terrible idea. Your season isn't going anywhere.
You're done.
He's going to need that extra third to trade up in the first to get a quarterback.
Yeah, he needs that third. Right?
He's not going to have to trade up in the first. They are going to be up in the first.
He wants that number 1 pick, Brian.
He's gonna be top 10.
No, there's enough quarterback talent. You can be top 10 pick and you're going to be fine.
Don't tell that to him. He'll trade up
because look at the teams that are going to be down there. Carolina's not drafting a quarterback. Houston's not drafting a quarterback. Chicago,
Cleveland's not drafting a quarterback.
Cleveland's probably not drafting a quarterback.
You don't think Chicago's going to draft a QB?
Indianapolis
I
ain't
don't know
drafting a
on
quarterback.
Chicago. That's an interesting one.
I feel like if
Indiana.
they end up with picks 1 and 2, it's
What
just,
about-
it's
hold on.
going to be Caleb Williams and then Marvin Harrison.
What about Tampa Bay Bucks?
They're not going to. I don't think they're going to have a good enough pick to actually.
No, this is the Baker Mayfield was the worst thing for the Bucks possible.
Yeah.
Losing with Trask would have been better. Because going 7-9 in the NFL is the worst thing you can do. 7-10 or 8-9 is the worst thing you can do. That's the
you're
worst
going to end up with a
position to
mid-round
be.
pick that's really just not going to help you. Like Logan Hall was their first-round pick a couple of years ago, and he hasn't done.
I mean,
anything.
Wirfs obviously helped us, but you know, you're going to get okay guys, but you're not going to get the guys you need to get into the playoffs and win a division.
You're not going to make the one guy that'll make that difference.
Right.
You're not going to find him at 17 or 18.
No, you're
more times than not.
Right. You usually a guy that's going to make a difference and start in is usually a top 12 guy. You know, and that
Sometimes if you draft right.
Outspoken people
This guy won't.
about how what Matt said after this past game was a mess. Did that have any bearing?
Not at all. No. You know, Rizul's been a really good leader for us, really positive leader for us. So
yeah, all the good things the guy was. He's a positive leader, bright spot of the defense.
Good leader on the Bills now.
We're gonna let him go. Bills know.
Yeah.
really had
Bills know they can fleece the Packers because the Packers are being led by this stupid fuck. If I was every team in the league, I'd call up and just offer the stupidest trades ever, see if this guy would take it or not.
Probably would.
Hey, I'll give you I need a backup guy for next year. I'll give you a sixth and a seventh for Love.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Deal.
good
Yeah,
backup.
yeah.
But I think next year he's on a $21 million deal.
That's if they pick it up, I believe. It's
No,
team
I
offer,
think
right?
it's already picked up.
Oh, is
I
it?
think Brian look into his contract, but I thought
On Love, they picked it up already, and I said it was a smart idea for both of them.
$21
at the
million.
time.
$21 million? Really?
Yeah. Well, no,
He ain't playing like a $21 million guy.
no, but what's smart about it, remember, is the Green Bay can cut him still. It's not guaranteed. I think.
It's cuttable.
Yeah,
Oh, well, then that's great.
because
Him and Bakhtiar are fucking kicking cans down the road. If I'm Bubba Grukenkunt.
I think I gotta go back and look at it, but I
Will you
think
look at-
that's
will
what
you
I
look at-
liked about it.
Will you look at Bakhtiar's deal too? And
so
let me know.
with Jordan Love,
I feel like writing a handwritten letter to Jordan Love. You fucking are horrible.
oh
The
wow,
FBI would be here.
they signed him all the way through. So they signed him to a 2-year deal. It would cost them. Dead cap is $12 million to cut him next year. So yeah, they're stuck with him.
See?
Yeah, they're actually it costs them more
To get rid of
cut him than to keep him.
Right.
The cap hit to keep him
So-
is 7.7.
So that's why you got Google Hunts coming on here now saying it's too early to the jury's still out on Jordan Love because they know he's going to be their starter next year.
I would say it is too early. I think he needs just a little bit more time. Let's let the team get healthy. Let's see how he plays down the stretch. He doesn't have an offensive line. He doesn't have a healthy running back. Christian Watson was out injured pretty much all
and he was a
season.
horrible fucking draft pick.
He's not horrible.
He can't catch the fucking
He's
ball.
not healthy. He doesn't have a lot of drops. He's just hasn't been on the field to play.
100 yards and penalties last week, the Green Bay Packers.
But is that on Jordan Love?
I don't know.
I'm
It's on
just saying,
everybody.
is that
Yeah, it's
the
on everybody.
team
It's
is
on
not
everybody.
very good.
Just undisciplined, Brian.
I mean, they're
What about Bakhtiar? What's his deal look like next year? I mean, they are fucking getting fleeced by him. I think
no,
since
that's the worst. That's
was a
going
hundred-
to turn out to be one of the worst contracts in NFL history. What they overpaid for him, because they gave him that deal and
go
then
look
he
that deal.
immediately
Look
got
that
hurt.
look that deal up for
Yeah,
me if
hold
you
on.
could, please. And guess what? This motherfucker that's on my screen right now is the guy that fucking drafted him. I mean, is the guy? Well, yeah, he did draft him, but he's also the guy that gave him all the fucking money.
So
The minute that fucking Bakhtiar got his guaranteed willie, he blowed out his fucking deal, and he hasn't played a game since. Or he's played 2 or 3 games.
Didn't Gutekunst blame Aaron Rodgers for that kind of signing because he loved Gutekunst for so much?
Google Kunst is a cunt.
So Bakhtiari has one more year left, thankfully. But they really can't afford to cut him because it's a $20 million dead cap hit. His cap hit, though, is $40 million. He's a problem next year for them. He's a problem.
They got to trade him.
I mean, nobody's going to take him.
Nobody's going to take that.
Nobody's going to take him. The Jets ain't taking him unless they retain $30 million of that 40.
Can you, as a player, rip up your contract and redo it? Rodgers did it for the Jets, did he not?
You can restructure the deal.
Yeah, I mean, you're like
or he could retire.
That's
but they still have to pay him, I think.
Jesus. Well, guess who cut that deal? This fuck right here with the perfect hair.
Well, he cut that deal not knowing the guy would get microfracture knee problems and never play another game.
He cut that deal because he pissed off Aaron Rodgers, and he had to have an olive branch for Aaron Rodgers. The reason why he pissed off Aaron Rodgers is because he basically drafted fucking Aaron Rodgers' fucking replacement 2 or 3 years before he should have even thought about that. When he drafted Aaron Rodgers' replacement 2 or 3 years, like maybe this year, he should have consulted with Aaron Rodgers and said, "Hey, Aaron, tell me who do you like?" Aaron Rodgers has an input on that. Aaron Rodgers has an input as to whether Jordy Nelson stays. Aaron Rodgers has an input as to Devontae Adams staying. Aaron Rodgers has an input as whether Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith and all these other motherfuckers are staying, because Aaron Rodgers has proven himself to have that type of whip in the league. This fuck wants to have all the whip. Well, we've given you all the whip, and look where you got us. Fucking horrible. Are the Bucs any better? I mean, at least you
the Bucs are in a better position.
At least you don't have a general. I mean, fucking Jason Light pretty much solidified himself as the greatest general manager of all times with what he pulled off with Brady. Right?
Yeah, the Bucs are ultimately going to win more games. They're not selling pieces.
Not just this season, but moving forward, they're in a better position. They have a better roster. They have better receivers under contract. They have a better, a franchise offensive tackle. Their defense, they've gotten younger and didn't get a whole lot worse.
There's a couple guys they're going to have to learn to live without. I don't think they re-signed Devin White.
No, they won't be able to afford him.
He hasn't been playing well. I am bracing myself for them not to bring back Mike Evans.
Yeah, they're not.
I think it's time for Chris Godwin to get a legitimate shot at being a wide receiver 1. They're already paying him over $20 million a year. And
what are they paying Evans?
As of his last contract, right around 20.
23.
So they got like
23.7.
So they got like 44, 45 million tied up in the 2.
Yes.
Is that the most expensive wide receiver duo in the league? I got to think it is.
I don't think so. I want to say that might be Jacksonville because I don't know what they're paying Calvin Ridley.
And it's not. Jacksonville has Kirk too.
Christian Kirk is getting paid shit ton, like $30 million or something.
But he's worth it. He's their number 1 receiver.
I mean, I did tell you, Jacksonville's going to surprise some people.
Well, the surprising thing about Jacksonville is that Trevor Lawrence is not playing well, and they're playing well. So that's the most surprising thing. Their defense is opportunistic, and obviously they have the running back game. But the Bucs are in good shape next year. I'm getting rid of this
Google cunt guy. I hate him.
The Bucs are in good shape next year because even without reworking Chris Godwin's contract, they have $48 million in cap space. So they went through cap hell this year.
But the Bucs need to start losing so they can get a better draft.
Well, that's the thing is they
go after a quarterback?
No, they go after they let Evans go and get a wide receiver.
They'll draft a wide receiver and try to bring in somebody on free agency or something on the quarterback side.
What's the pool of those people? Give me some names as to who might be available on the free agent quarterback hopper.
Let's see who the list is. We've got
Jameis Winston.
Kirk Cousins. Coming back from his blown Achilles.
No. Minnesota would lock him up.
No,
they're not going to.
They're already mentally moved on. Okay. He was bracing for this to be his last year. Okay. I'm not the biggest fan of Kirk Cousins, but he was playing well this year.
He was playing really well, except for the fumbles. He was playing really well.
I got to tell you something. I've always, my team's played him twice a year forever, and I see him. He's pretty fucking good. He's pretty damn good.
When he's bad all night. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you can tell by the end of the first quarter it's going to be a shitty game.
Give that guy a little protection, though. You give him a little protection where he can go through his progressions. He's as good as anybody.
I like Cousins as and they're now going to get him on a discount.
Yeah.
Because, he blew out his Achilles.
The Bucs Cousins coming to the Bucs would be fucking great.
He's their best
He's the best option, and they have the money to pay him. and they can bring in Godwin at number 1, get a rookie, a highly rated rookie wide receiver.
Or a free agent.
Well, there's a lot of free agent wide receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're going to be overpaying for that. You get the rookie in, and
You draft
You can
one in
build
the
a better
first round.
team,
You,
just-
you draft one
you
in the
can
first
build
round.
a better team than you can buy a better team right
Yeah.
now. They're
Yeah.
fine. They've got a legitimate number 1 in Godwin. This the young receiver
Trey Palmer.
Trey Palmer is looking every bit a successful slot receiver if you want to play him there.
Yeah, but you draft like another like a 6'3", 6'4" guy.
Mm-hmm.
You go in there, but you can bring in a veteran on the wide receiver. I mean, there's a lot of veterans out there.
So, Brian, what happens when Gutekunst finally has to admit that Jordan Love was not the guy we thought, and we let all of this calamity go in lieu of putting all of our stock into this guy, and now this guy's literally out of the league, cut, back up Willie. What the fuck happens at that point? Somebody has to. I mean, at that point, somebody has to be held accountable, don't you?
I mean, if they're going to give each of them another season, then they've got next year. But I just think it's foolish, and you should bring in, even if you're stuck with Love as your quarterback next year, you should still start looking to the future and rebuilding. That team needs to rebuild,
including the failure.
No, you
general
either,
manager
you
or
either,
head coach or both.
I think if it's me, if I'm the team president, I'm firing both of them. Especially if they lose the next 2 games. I mean, you're 2-8. Let's just cut bait here and move on and position ourselves for the next regime and allow them to. They have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. That's a lot. You can start building a new team with that. In this day and age in the NFL, I mean, you definitely draft. I think the 3rd round pick is a running back. They need a younger running back. Aaron Jones.
First round pick better be a lineman.
The first round pick has to be an offensive lineman.
Yeah, and maybe even the second.
Yeah, 2nd round pick though, you're not getting. You're usually, unless you're playing a guard or a center, you're usually not getting an NFL ready offensive lineman with a 2nd round pick. It generally speaking,
lineman wise,
offensive lineman, that's a tough position to come in and not be a first day guy and be ready to play day 1.
Well, I mean, I got to tell you, a lot of the Packer fans are calling for the guy that came from Penn State, the Sean Clifford guy. They drafted him this year out of Penn State, and in the preseason and things, man, he looked fucking really, really good. A lot of people are calling for him. For them to replace Love with this guy, because this guy, they still got him on a rookie deal. He's a rookie, and then to see what he would do.
But you look at in the trench. A perfect example is the Cody Mauch kid. He's coming for the Bucks, and they're trying to play him, but he's struggling. He's struggling, and that is probably the most difficult position to come into the NFL and excel in, that and tight end.
I'm just saying, the Packers drafted this kid from Penn State, I think 5th, 6th, and he came in this year during the exhibition games and just it looked really, really good. Supposedly, the reporters are saying at practice that he's more accurate than Love. He's
Sean Clifford.
Yeah, Sean Clifford. Packers drafted him. He's on the pack. And then the Packers, for the 3rd round, for their 3rd quarterback that I think they put on the practice team or somebody picked him up, was the XFL MVP.
A.J.
McCarron. Packers had him, Brian, and I watched a few preseason games with him, and he looked like a fucking stud.
Don't get fooled by the preseason, Bubba.
I'm not going to get fooled by the preseason.
Mirrors, man. It's not real football.
Did the McLaren guy end up going somewhere, or is he
Alex Mago? My mistake. I apologize.
Mago, yes, Alex Mago. Did he end up picking up somewhere, or is he still with the Packers on practice?
I believe he's still with the Packers.
Yeah, I think he's still with Green Bay.
Which tells you all you need to know when teams have lost so many quarterbacks and he's still sitting on their practice squad.
I mean, P.J. Walker was a superstar for the XFL, and he's kind of struggling.
Thanks,
kind of struggling?
Well, no, huh?
Kind of struggling? He's
Let's-
been terrible
let's-
with the Browns.
Let's move on. What happens in the Michigan Spygate, Signalgate? Jim Harbaugh did know. Like, what happens?
That's the thing. It doesn't matter if he knew. Now in the NCAA, they have made it clear when you have shit like this going on, it's falling on the head coach. So there's no plausible deniability. There's no rogue guy.
But they've even showed that there was some correspondence that showed that Harbaugh knew.
But even if he didn't, it's irrelevant. And I think the fact that he did know will land him a bigger, stiffer penalty.
What do you think of that? Now, they're obviously,
I think they're
going to
get a postseason ban for next year.
Allowed to play out this year.
Yes. And
then postseason next year. Like a postseason, can't play any bowl, anything like that.
And if I'm the Big Ten, I'm penalizing them as well. They cannot play in the conference title game or anything like that.
And it's looking like the guy did it.
Oh, 100. Did you see the latest video of him at the Central Michigan sideline? And you see the Ray-Bans that record? He's wearing the recording Ray-Bans, and you see the lens above. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely him. Jim McElwain, which I was wondering where the hell he went. He's now the head coach for Central Michigan, and he pretty much went on the press conference and said, yeah, that's him out there, and we're trying to figure out who the hell's credentials he used to get there because he wasn't on our list.
And how shitty are you if you're Michigan and you're trying to steal the signals from Central fucking Michigan?
No. They were playing Michigan State that game.
Okay.
So he was on that sideline to look over at the Michigan State side. And there's video of him saying edge pressure or edge rush. He's just supposed to be this low-level like recruiting staffer or whatever he's supposed to be. And during the game, he's right next to Jim Harbaugh and the coaches on the field telling them stuff. Like there's just it's so obvious. Like Michigan fans just need to get over themselves and go, yeah, we cheated. We'll take whatever punishment's coming our way. Not this whole righteous indignation. Everybody cheats, and what's the big deal, and everything like. And Dave Portnoy's out there being obnoxious with it.
What's he saying?
Oh, it's not that big of a deal. And he took a picture of himself at a football game saying, "I'm stealing their signs right now," and this and that.
Oh, yeah, he's a big Michigan fan. Well,
he's a big Michigan fan. He's a douche.
Moving on to the World Series champions, man, I didn't even know that they fuck. I mean, like, wow.
Probably one of the lowest watched ever.
Texas Rangers taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. They swept them in 4.
No, it was 5 games.
I mean, 5. Swept them in 5. They beat them in 5. The Diamondbacks won 1 game. I did not watch 1 pitch of the World Series. Did you?
I watched like an inning.
Yeah, I watched a couple innings. Walker likes it.
Yeah, he just because it's baseball, you can fuck who's playing.
Yeah, exactly. And I watched it and I turned it off.
Which sets me up for the Rays. How are the Rays looking? And it's been super kayfabe on the Franco deal, has it not?
Yeah, it's been real quiet.
And I got to think that might be good.
It's not bad. The longer this goes without something happening to him, the better his chances.
Right.
And supposedly he's going to be playing winter ball down in the Dominican.
Yes, he is.
So
like, does that mean that, that the Rays there might be some wiggle room in the fact that
here's a Bleacher Report latest here from yesterday. This is August. See, this is old. This is old.
So there's nothing new.
Nope. I just looked too. There's the earliest was why he's off the roster. And
here's the deal.
Well, now let's see what this is. Is this a rehash? These are all rehash articles.
This gives Franco's people. Now, see, the Rays have to distance themselves. They have to say, listen, we're not in it. Major League Baseball is investigating this. You guys got your team of people down there. But, Dominican Republic is shady as fuck. And so, Franco's got his boys that are making contact with these families that these girls, allegedly that he fucked and messed around with. And, I think I read an article where it's not uncommon for somebody to cut a deal with the father of the family, and then the father of the family calls it off. And in Dominican Republic, when the father of the family calls it off, and then they cooperate on the process, and it just goes away.
Yeah, but it won't go away for MLB, and that's going to be the problem for him, is them investigating it further. And I mean, look what happened to frickin' Trevor Bauer. I mean,
who, by the way,
clearly the evidence was he didn't do it, and nobody would touch him. Right. Nobody was allowed to touch him. And see, if I'm him, I'm filing a lawsuit against Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
and I want all of the correspondence.
Like the way Kaepernick did.
I want all the correspondence and the communication between all of the owners, the GMs, and the league. I want that discovery. I want to see what they were saying.
Kaepernick got $85 million for collusion.
Yep. And I'm the same thing. If I'm Trevor Bauer, I want that. I want that shit. Give it to me. Give me the fucking and if not, give me $100 million.
Right. Or, because if he can prove that, General Manager A told General Manager B, hey, man, this guy's fucking trouble. We got a sexual gimmick going on with this dude. Right? With him comes that. Because that's what Kaepernick and Kaepernick, I think some of the more damning evidence was just like one general manager saying, man, with this guy comes a whole lot of fucking drama.
So,
he's really going to split your team. Like, he'll polarize. He's a very polarizing guy. What's that?
The Bauer. So here's the thing with Bauer is I think the Dodgers ended up paying him out.
I think the Dodgers did, yeah.
Yeah, so he's now a free agent this year. So he wouldn't have any real damages yet. So he got paid not to play for the last two seasons.
His deal he got his salary for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So there's no damages.
So there's no damages yet, but he's a 2024 free agent. So this is where...
So, like, if nobody would pick him up or they would use that against him, then he starts incurring damages.
Right, because he's only 33 years old.
Well, no, I mean, technically the Dodgers released him January 12th of 2023.
But they still have to pay him.
Yeah, but he was a free agent. No one picked him up.
I know, but there's no damages because he got paid his salary, so he can't prove damages.
Still, no teams picked him up.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, yeah, but let me make a point. You could have that discovery, but he did. He's clear.
Japan for $4 million when he probably could have got 10 to 15, 20 million in the major leagues.
He was making 34 average in his last contract. He would have easily gotten 25.
Wasn't he killing
that's what I'm saying, but no one signed him.
But he was killing it.
Yeah, he was a good pitcher.
He was one of the premier guys, was he not?
He was a hell of a pitcher. You don't pay a guy average salary contract $34 million a year for him to suck.
So do the Rays lose Glasgow?
They got to trade him. They can't afford that. I mean, the way they run.
What is it, $30 million?
It's $25 million.
I mean, that would be the highest paid Ray of all time.
By like $10 million.
Right. Right now, currently, it's Franco at what? 15, 16?
I think they paid Kiermaier 15 1 year.
They did.
Yeah.
I think he got hurt.
So yeah, they owe him $25 million next year, and there's just no way they're going to be paying him that.
Somebody will. The Red Sox, Yankees.
Oh no, they can trade him for sure, and they will get a heck of a haul back.
Yeah,
and that's what they got to do. That's their model.
Is that what they're doing right now? I mean, are they saying, hey?
Oh, they're working on deals. Yeah, absolutely. Right now, they're calling around saying, what do you guys want? But part of the problem for them
how good is he?
It's a good free agent market this year, though. So. It hurts him that way. How good is he? He's very good.
Well, he's just coming off Tommy John, though.
No, but no, he's a year and a half removed from Tommy John now.
Oh, okay.
Or it's actually like 2 full years removed. He came back and pitched at the end of last season, and he came out and pitched this year. He suffered an oblique strain, but that was it. But he pitched really well, especially once he returned from the oblique strain. His stats after about 3 or 4 starts, his last 2 months of the year, he was pretty lights out.
Takes me over to the Lightning. So I forget maybe it was a couple Saturdays, a couple Fridays ago. I'm watching the Lightning. I don't really get to watch them as much as I'd like. And they're playing Montreal. They're up 3-1 going into the like 8 minutes left in the fourth. Up 3-1. They blow it. Fucking Montreal ties them, then beats them in overtime. And it was the 4th time in a row for the last 4 times that Montreal has traveled to Amalie Arena, they've beat the Rays in overtime.
The Lightning.
I'm sorry, the Lightning in overtime for the last 4 times. So I know the Lightning have since pulled the nose up. I think they're 4-3. No, they're 4-2-3.
Yeah. They're right where they need to be without their starting goalie.
Yeah.
I mean this is fine. Everything that's happening is okay. They're in the mix. I mean they win their next game and they're in second place in their division. So
and when Vazzy comes back, is that a game changer?
Yes.
With regards to what we have now compared to what he will be
I'll
healthy.
Say the kid now is playing well. We are not losing because of goaltending. We are not losing because of goaltending.
We're losing because we don't shoot the puck.
Well, that's part of the problem. The problem is we've got 2 new lines. Those 2 bottom lines are essentially completely new, and it takes time to gel. They only play like 5 preseason hockey games. They don't 4 preseason hockey games. They don't have a huge preseason.
Nothing.
So they need time to gel in a game situation. They're gonna be okay.
Are they going to offer Stamkos a deal? I just, for the life of me, being a lifelong Lightning fan since the day they started as an expansion team, I was never really big into hockey until the Lightning, was my hometown team. My stepfather grew up a Blackhawks fan, and I grew up in Indiana, which is probably the Chicago Blackhawks. But we were close to the Red Wings as well. But since when my hometown got a hockey team, then I became a huge Lightning fan. I am a Lightning fan, and I just, as a Lightning fan, cannot even fucking picture 91 not being on the team or being traded away. I cannot. I just cannot. And I know that he'll take a team. I know he'll take a team friendly deal. And he was sort of kind of, I don't know, felt disrespected that they didn't want to start that process, in the offseason this year.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that? I mean, it's not looking good.
It's going to have to be a really team-friendly deal, though, because they've got quite a bit tied up already for next year. They're not going to have a tremendous amount of cap space. They've got about $11 million total, but they've got like 7 guys they've got to sign. So they've got $11 million to spread over 7 dudes. They could probably get away with 6. And not keep, but it's going to be tough for them to make it all fit if he wants any more than like $4 million a year.
What if Stamkos came in and said, "I'll take $4 million a year"?
Then I think you sign him. But I think what the Lightning were doing to try and to be careful was just to make sure he hadn't really lost it. The problem is Stamkos. If I'm the Lightning, I would have offered him 5 or 6 year, $4 million a year deal, which is going to be longer term than
like a $20 million 5-year deal.
Yeah, because that takes him all the way to his age 38 season, and it's more money.
That's
than
$4 million a year, it's guaranteed 20 locked in for 5 years.
Yeah, and it's more money than anybody's going to. It's a longer term than anybody's going to probably be offering him at this stage. Even make it 6 years. Hell, kick it out. Because by those seasons,
$24 million?
You can make $4 million on the salary cap work in 6 years.
You're going to get that in TV money,
right?
You're going to get that in salary cap increase.
It's going to increase. It's going to start to increase here. They're still stuck in the COVID,
right?
Because of everything. It froze everything.
You just cannot have that guy on another team. Vinny LeCavier was one thing, Marty St. Louis was another. Chris Gratton. I'm just thinking of some of the big faces of the franchise. And Steve Stamkos, by far, is the biggest face of the franchise in the history of the franchise. Would you not agree?
Yeah, and he had a great year last year.
And he has a pretty damn good year going on right now. He's got 4 goals.
Yeah, he's doing what he does. He's in his office and he's doing what he does there. He's got 3 goals.
He's over there on
the
left side, cocked up, ready for you to shoot him a one-timer, right?
He's got 8 points in 7 games. That's on pace for 90 points for the season.
That's pretty damn good. I mean, you get that guy for a $4 million a year.
I don't know that they can get him for that, and that's the problem. I think he's going to want $6 million a year.
What if they say, Steve, bud, here's the numbers. Here's the numbers,
Here's what we
Steve.
can do. And still be competitive. Like, do you want to be competitive or not?
I mean, I think you sit Steve down and say, Steve, here's the numbers. Here's the numbers. Here's what we can pay you. We're not trying to shuck and jive and to penny pinch you, bud. This is what we can pay. Here's the guys we have left. Here's you. We want you to retire a Lightning guy. We can spread it out over 6 years. Let's make it a 6-year, $25 million deal.
Well, the way they should
that's like $4.01 million a year, something like that.
So the problem with the NHL is the contract, no matter how you end up paying it,
guaranteed
but it's broke. It's equal across the board. So like you can play reindeer games in the NFL and backload contracts and do things like that.
You can play reindeer games in the NBA.
Yeah.
You can play reindeer games in in baseball.
You can't play reindeer games in the NHL. And so like next year, we know the salary cap's going up from 83.5 to it's projected at 87.5. Then the year after that, it's projected to go to 92 million. Well, that's a big jump up from the 83.5 million we've been at this year. So
that pays for Stamkos alone.
Right. If you could bridge him, if you got him to take a team-friendly 1-year deal with the promise that his next contract will be a little that you'll make up that money that you would get on the open market if you just take a bridge deal with us. Take a 1-year, $4 million deal or a club-friendly deal. Or hell, if he really wants to be club-friendly, take a 1-year, $1 million deal, whatever the league minimum is for him, and then promise him, man to man, there's no guarantees, but we are going to give you, 3 years, $6 million a year after this. That might get him to do it.
Otherwise, you know where he's going, don't you?
Toronto
or Montreal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's there. They would, oh my God.
He's definitely going back to Canada.
And then finally, my last topic I wanted to talk about is my buddy Deion Sanders in Colorado. I think Deion has made a little bit of a mistake by letting these guys kind of they were and listen, I love Deion to death. I want him to win every game they can, but I think that they kind of thugged out, and they were America's Cinderella story, and everybody loved them, and it was a great story. And I think they've lost that lightning in the bottle they had, not necessarily because of the games that they've lost, but because of their behavior. And I think the Shiloh Sanders hit, which I think really was probably not a targeting hit.
It was a targeting hit.
I know.
Absolutely was not.
I mean,
it was called one, but it wasn't.
It was not a targeting hit.
You think that was targeting?
No, I said it.
No, I'm looking at Lummy because I've had the NFLers, Rob Gronkowski. I mean, if you look at anybody who commented on that, who's played the football game, they said that is absolutely textbook tackling.
So anyway, hold on.
The referee let me
I know the referee called it.
Referees that call the show.
Let me progress down the path. Whether it was or was not a targeting hit, we can't do anything about that. They called it targeting. He got thrown out of the game. I thought his thug body language, I thought that is what wasn't a good look. And I think Deion needs to get a handle on all this jewelry and the watch dance and the show me the EPO and get back to the hard-ass preseason type mentality he had where everybody's got to earn your own number. Nobody. I think that they've lost a little bit of focus of that with regards to how pop culturally famous they became. And, I don't know that Deion will win 3 more. Or I think he'll win 2 more games.
Well, then they're bowl eligible, and that's all you need.
I think they'll beat Arizona, and I think they'll beat.
Washington State.
And I think they'll beat Washington State. That makes them bowl eligible.
Bowls have already said that even if they don't win 6 games, they're inviting them.
That's great.
If there's not enough teams to fill the spots.
No, that's not true. It doesn't have to be.
Yes, it does.
No, the bowls make the decision.
No,
at the
but you
NCAA.
cannot take there's NCAA rules. You cannot take. Google it. You cannot take a 5-7 team over an eligible 6-6 team. You can't do it.
Okay.
So bowls can say all they want. If there's enough bowl eligible teams, they cannot take.
But Brian, would you
team.
not agree that Deion needs to do not a hard reset, but a little bit of a public eye reset with regards to where this team is right now?
No, I think you play out this season. You finish it out.
You thug.
You do whatever. You're going to get. All they need to be. They would have
offensive line.
They would have 2 losses right now if they had an offensive line.
Yep.
2 losses. They would be sitting here at
5-2.
6-2.
6-2.
And we would be talking about the amazing turnaround it was. They just don't have an offensive line. Shador's under constant pressure. He has no time to throw.
He's the most sacked quarterback in NCAA.
And it's not his fault. It's not like he's most sacked because he's stupidly holding onto the ball too long or trying. He could probably dump it off and throw the ball to the ground. He literally has
a guy on him by the time he's back and set. He's running for his life.
But
that left tackle, Lummy, I could literally call Deion and say, I got this big guy. I think he could literally do better than any of your left tackles right now.
He's getting away.
But he just needs a fifth of vodka in his locker room every day.
Here's the ththing, though. I called them a 6-6 team when we did the preseason review.
I know.
I didn't buy the hype that they won their first 3 games. That's great. Those aren't real teams. Okay, TCU was in a complete rebuild. They didn't know what they were putting out on that field. And then, Nebraska, a joke. Colorado State should have beat them worse than they did.
Yeah. Well, there's one of these last games they should have won, though. There's one that they should have won.
But Stanford, absolutely.
Yeah,
they're up 31-0 at halftime.
29.
Or 29-0 at halftime, whatever it was.
Biggest blow ever.
Yeah. So and you know what, though? That's not offensive line bad. That's bad coaching.
Yeah.
29-0, coaches lost the game, period. That's on him. That's 100% on him and his staff. You can't keep your players focused. You can't keep their mind in the game against a garbage team like Stanford. Garbage team. They're awful, and they've been awful, and they're going to continue to be awful.
They're awful since Jim Harbaugh left them.
Yeah, they are
haven't been
terrible.
Good since. I just hope Deion turns it around, gets the team kind of a little bit more less thug and a little bit more humble. and they make a bowl game, and then and then watch out. I mean, if he was able to take, his recruiting prowess is really going to start showing here in the next 2 or 3 years when his people that he's recruiting. This is really his first year. Didn't he? Let me get the I think the number 1 overall quarterback for 2025.
Yeah.
He got that
That's
guy.
right now, yeah, he did.
I mean, he's got a lot of good recruits. It's going to be interesting to see how this all. And they're switching conferences too to an easier conference, aren't they?
Yeah, the Big 12.
Is that easier than the Pac-12?
As of right now, yes, it is.
Pac-12's loaded, aren't they?
Well,
They got a lot of ranked schools.
the Big Ten, you mean?
No. What do you mean?
They're all Big Ten next year.
Oh, they all of them are?
Yeah, and Colorado's Big 12.
That's what he said. He said the Pac-10's loaded this year.
I said the Pac-10's loaded
Oh,
this
I
year.
thought he meant they're going to be loaded next
no,
year. I'm
no,
like, no, they're going to be. There's only
I'm
2
talking
teams
about-
left.
The Pac-12 this year's loaded.
Yeah, no, they're.
You got UCLA, you got USC, you got Oregon.
What are their big non-conference wins? What are their big non-conference wins out of the Pac-12 this year?
Well, they don't have much.
They'd have none. I mean, it's great when you have teams that are beating up the dregs of society. The Pac-12 is always what we think it is. Okay, what are we going to point to? Oregon's impressive win over Portland State, or their 8-point win at Texas Tech. I mean, Hawaii. They play. So the thing about the Pac-12 is they only play 3 non-conference games, and they generally play the good teams in the league play against shit opponents.
Well, not USC. They play Notre Dame.
Again, the good teams play against shit opponents. Notre Dame ain't that great, man. They're okay. They're a top 25 team. I will say that about Notre Dame. They're a top 25 team.
Yeah. Whew, I think I got through all my points. Anything you guys want to bring up?
Just that the Pac-12 is overrated, and don't buy the hype, everybody. It's not that good. They're not that good. They have no impressive.
Give me your prediction of what the Bucks finish, and give me your prediction of what the Packers finish.
Bucks finish either 8-9 or 7-10. I would have to actually look at their schedules.
I think they go 8-9. I really do.
The Bucks, yeah. I think they go 8-9. I'm leaning towards that, but
Yep.
I want to look at the actual schedule and say that's a win, that's a loss, that's a win, that's a loss. So
I think the Packers go 5-12.
I'm pulling up Green Bay now. So their next game is hosting the Rams.
They can beat them.
That's a toss-up. Yeah,
that really is, and it's at Lambeau.
I'm going to give them the win.
All right.
So 3-5. They lose on the road to the Steelers.
Yes.
3-6. They lose at home to the Chargers. 3-7. They lose on the road to the Lions. 3-8. They lose to the Chiefs. 3-9. They beat the Giants. 4-9. They lose to the Bucks. 4-10. They beat the Panthers. 5-10. They lose to the Vikings.
5-11.
5-11, and then they lose the last game to the Bears. And
I said 5-12.
5-12.
Who's the Vikings quarterback?
It is going to be Josh Dobbs. Actually, not terrible. They traded for him, so that's why I've got. By then, he'll be up to speed, and I think that they win that New Year's Eve game, and it's in Minnesota. And Jefferson, if he's going to come back,
does Green Bay get embarrassed on Thanksgiving Day?
Of course.
Oh yeah,
they get it's at.
That's going to be that. The Lions are going to have that one circled,
and that's the 11 a.m. Thanksgiving Willie, the day of. That I think that's a 34 to 10 game, maybe more. Packers getting their ass whipped.
Oh yeah,
because first of all, historically, the Packers are not good inside in Detroit. They weren't good at the Pontiac Silverdome, and they haven't been good at Ford Field, and they're also not good at Minnesota either. They're horrible indoors. The Packers are. I'm with you, Brian. I'm saying 5-12 for the Packers. Does that give them what does 5-12 put you? Top 5 pick?
5-12 puts you
maybe like
probably
pick 7 or 8.
Probably 8, 8 or 9. Yeah, somewhere in there. Maybe because there's a lot of bad teams this year. And so it's just going to depend how the season shakes out. But I see 4 or 5 more victories for the Bucks as well. So I see that. So that puts them at 8 and 9.
Perfect.
Oh, Bubba, Macho has, he said his mic's off. He has an announcement.
Oh.
He'd like to say.
Well, he's, usually have his mic on. He never
Especially
says a
with
word.
sports talk. So I was back here working hard and fixing Brian's complaint about the hotline being on hold with everything else. So we went ahead and fixed that problem. So if you do busy all, it does not affect the hotline.
Oh,
I
that's
see that.
awesome.
So Brian, get right
you're
through
the
it.
man.
He is.
Yeah, why don't you give it up to him, Brian?
You know what I was going to
Hating on
say?
him
I was
earlier.
not hating on him earlier. I asked
today.
a question because I was ignorant.
Earlier
and
today.
it did come across dickish.
Earlier today, I said anybody that wanted to leave, get the fuck out. I don't need you. With the exception of Macho Man. He's the only guy that really I can't afford not to have around here.
I'd say Lummy does a lot.
Rhett's very important. So
Yeah, I would say you can't afford to lose any of them at this point.
Whatever.
we're skeleton crew here.
So you guys know that. You
I can
can't do
replace
anything
Lummy.
to you. You're
I can
all irreplaceable.
I can replace Lummy. I can certainly replace Anna. I've replaced Rhett before. I'm not saying things are going to go as good as they are. I'm not saying that we're not going to have a dip in performance. But I mean, come on, guys. I'm just kidding you. I love you. I'll give you a four-speed ear grip. Lummy.
You all have free reign around here. Bubba can't do shit to you anymore. You are the kings.